myself. So my name is Mike Blummer. I manage the facility here. We've got Tom that's going to be running the system here, and inside the vehicle we have Rads, who's also part of the group here. Rads, can you wave to everybody? All right, so he's in there. We're going to bring this view back as he's going for a drive, but he's going for a drive. He's not going for a ride. If you look at the upper right monitor up there, if you can see it, you'll see there's a camera. That's from a camera that's mounted in the top interior of the dome. So you see there's a full-size forked edge inside there, and that's what Rads is sitting in. That vehicle is facing towards us. So when Rads starts driving down the road, pushing on the accelerator pedal, the entire dome is going to come forward to give him the sensation that he's accelerating. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to have him do some lane changes, and then so you'll see it moving side to side, and then we'll have him slam on the brakes in the middle of the interstate, which everybody does, right? And so you see it decelerating to the back. So let's watch him. He's accelerating here and accelerating forward. The three monitors that are to the right up there, that's part of what's in the front driving scene. And in particular, the one labeled front center is what is right in front of Rads. This is also a reduced resolution view of that front driving scene. So he's in the right lane on an interstate. Again, the vehicle is facing us. So when he does lane changes, we're going to see the visuals go to the left while the dome goes to the right, but you just have to realize that we're looking at each other and we're not going in the same direction. So what we've just done right now is we've pushed the dome off to the side so that when Rads does some lane changes here, we've maximized the amount of motion that we can give him for doing lane changes. And we moved that below his perception threshold. So he started out centered to do the acceleration, and then we moved it slow enough so that he got off to the side, so now we can maximize the side-to-side motion. So he's doing some lane changes here. Now, if we didn't have motion and we had most likely some person off the street, maybe one of you come in and go for a drive without motion, and we had to do a lane change, most likely what we'd see is some oscillating steering behavior. You would do a lane change, and because now only your visual system is letting you know where you are in the world, by the time your brain figures that out, you're going to counter steer for it, and then you're going to put in too much, and then you're going to start doing these oscillating behaviors. So by having this type of motion has been real key to study natural driving performance, but then getting into real critical situations and maybe having the vehicle suddenly stop in front of you. So I think what we're going to do is maybe a lane departure warning, audio cue. So Rads is going to drift out of his lane either to the right or to the left, and what you'll hear in here is what he hears inside, which is that audio cue. So as he drifts, he's hearing the beeping sound. We've also studied haptic warnings. So one of our first studies that we did in here was applying lane departure warning to the drowsy driver problem, right? So we had people stay up for 24 hours, no caffeine the day before, and as they got sleepy, they started drifting out of their lane. We could activate one of these warnings and see if how effective a warning was or an alert was in getting people back into their lane, right? And not to rely on that to then drive for the next 3 hours, but to save you that first time, and then you need to take the appropriate response of, either getting your caffeine or taking your nap, whatever needs to be done. So I think in the interest of time, we're going to bring Rads back to the middle here from the dome perspective. He's going to stay in the right lane. And again, we're going to move the dome below his perception threshold, and then we're going to have him do a slam on the brakes, come to a stop, and then we'll shut the system down. So it looks like he's set. He'll bring his foot over to slam on the brakes, and then we'll come to a stop, and then again visually he will be done, but you'll see the dome move quite a bit actually, but he will not actually feel any of that motion. So I think we're going to wait till he gets out of the curve here. We're still coming out of the curve, all right. So there he goes.
He doesn't feel that?
No, he feels that, but now he's come to a stop. Now he's not feeling this. You say, how does he not feel that, right? And it's actually, well, it's accelerating, but it's because when you push on the brakes and you decelerate, how many of you have been to an amusement ride where they use the seats to kind of pitch you to give you the sensation that you're accelerating or decelerating? We do that here as well, but when you come to a complete stop, we can't leave you pitched forward because you're going to still feel like you're decelerating, right? So we need to get you back level again. In order to do that so you don't feel that, we actually move the dome forward so they kind of cancel out at the driver's seat. So that motion he didn't feel, but when he first hit the brakes, the pitching and the backwards motion combined to give him the feeling that he was decelerating.